Of course you can, Andy. You can call me anything you want, mate.
There
That's
you
lovely.
go.
That's a very nice compliment. Thank you.
So, very briefly, Mark is international DJ, producer, former resident for the Ministry of Sound, now an international bestseller, life coach, and amongst many, many other accolades. We have spoken at length on many occasions, and I've learned a hell of a lot from Mark that we may touch on throughout the course of this conversation. But we are really here to focus tonight on plans that we need to look back on. Did we achieve them this year? And bask in the glory of things that we did achieve, look at why we didn't achieve them, and how we can put all of that right. So, Mark, I'm always conscious that you have the better words than me. So put it in your wonderful way. What we're looking to achieve this evening.
Well, thank you, mate. Yeah, absolutely. As you said, I think it's very much about looking back at the last 12 months. Did we live with purpose? Did we have a vision for our life? Did we achieve our goals, the things that we would have liked to have set out, and achieve back in January of this year? Very often, people set up New Year's resolutions, and within 2 weeks they're gone, right? And that's largely because people are not aligned with purpose, vision, and goals. And one of my goals was to have multiple sources of income, which I achieved many years ago. And it's just something that, particularly at the moment with I start my book with in every crisis is an opportunity. People are looking at the cost of living crisis. It's just, it is difficult for people. I understand that, but it's also an opportunity to learn more and be better into 2023, which ultimately must be the goal for every human being. Every healthy human being is committed to growth in some area.
Whether they know it or not, right?
Well, this is the thing. Some people can articulate all this information, this personal development information, all the stuff I wrote about in the Life Remix book. Some people just naturally, it's just there, and they just get on with it. Other people don't know how to do that, and other people have to learn how to do that and then be able to articulate it. But absolutely, as exactly what you say, some people are just not consciously aware of what they're doing. However, when you are consciously aware, you can articulate and say, yeah, I'm committed to growth in whatever area. It could be health, wealth, happiness, be anything in your entire life. Whatever you want to manifest, you can literally do it. What you think is what you bring, or what you think about is what you bring about.
Okay, so let's focus on happiness initially because everybody wants to be happy, right? That is a desire, whether they show it on their face or not. We all want to be happy. We all want to lead the best lives possible. One of the questions that I asked you when we were coming onto this feed was I have an array, as you and we have an array of different friends with different energies, different outlooks on life. And some people, when they feel they are trying to be positive, they are constantly drawing reference to haters. They're constantly drawing reference to being better than situations they were in the past. Is this a positive thing, or is it actually detrimental to their happiness?
Well, I think one of the things that I had to learn very quickly, when I wanted to become successful, and I studied a lot of successful people, and I continue to do that, by the way. I don't think I've made it. I just keep studying successful people. But one of the very first things that nearly every one of them said is, what anyone else thinks of you is none of your business. And that's a really freeing piece of information. Once you internalize it, not just consciously, but actually in your emotions, once you internalize it, you then become aware that it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks or says or does, because that's their journey. Now, when you're putting out positive information into the world, it can attract people that are triggered by you improving yourself. Some people don't like change. They don't want you to change, by the way. But ultimately you have a choice as a human being. You have a choice to change, to grow, to achieve a goal, whatever it is you want to achieve. We have been given choices, we've been given the ability to think and feel. Therefore, we have choices to be able to, or we have a mind to be able to make choices. And therefore, we must do that. As far as haters goes, the more successful you are, the more haters you're going to have. Okay, just to put that clear to everybody, right? The more you put yourself out there, the more chance there is of people disliking you or hating on you or whatever it is. I get lots of people. I put out posts to help as many people as I can. I get lots of people like hating on me, and I just delete and ban and block. I just go, look, it's fine. I'm not going to get into an argument with you, and I certainly don't want to. Try and persuade you. Your journey is your journey. But if you're going to hate on positive messages I'm putting out, then that's fine, no problem. But you can do that to someone else, right?
Yeah, it's all about vibration, and if you're not getting that same energy back from someone, as you say, just block them. Don't even engage in their rhetoric. Good evening, Lou. Good evening, Ted. Ted, my friend from the States, comes in with a very tongue-in-cheek comment addressed to me. He says, "You just think you're better than everyone else." Well, if that's true. Then,
well, actually, what's funny about that is that might be something that you could have levelled at yourself maybe a couple of years ago. If you remember, it was everyone else was idiots, and why didn't they understand, certain messages that you were putting out there? And yet, actually, when I saw one particular Angry Andy post one day, I said to you, right, Andy, I said, come into this free Zoom thing we're doing called e-colours, and you came in, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell me how you felt about that after.
Yeah, it did. It definitely changed my life. It gave me a better perspective. It made me understand different people's ability to understand different situations and different circumstances, and working with a wide array of people and the promotion game, it is very difficult. And I did used to find myself in some of my communications fully aware that I was talking to people like they were children at times, but I felt if I didn't do that, I would also go over the heads of some people. So there would be an even blend of people thinking, why is he talking to me like I'm a 6-year-old? And yet other people saying to me, I don't understand what you mean. Where do I have to put the 10 pence? So it's very difficult. But e-colours something we'll talk on towards the end, because it's part of things that you do within the whole Life Remixed live package. Good evening, Angela. Angela Colossi, someone you're more than familiar with. Good morning, Emily, as well. I like to make this as interactive as possible, and I did forget to say at the beginning of the conversation, please feel free to ask any questions, and when Mark and I finish talking, I will address them to him. So, okay, we have to stick to our bullet points because you and I could talk all evening. So point number 1. Why do you have covered it already, but let's go over it again. Why do we need to make reviews of the year that's just gone?
Well, we absolutely look to see where we were and where we've got to. One of the programs I run is a 90-day goal achievement program. Literally come in 90 days and let us coach you through that process to get to where you want to get to. Of course, you could come in and say, I want to make £1 million in 90 days. You might struggle, right? So we need to look at that in more detail. But actually, progressive, in fact, Earl Nightingale, who was like Bob Proctor's mentor, who was Bob being one of my main mentors, Earl Nightingale said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Think about that. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Your vocal booth weekender is a worthy ideal. It is the progressive realization of that as you continue to grow it, and you came through COVID and you've done everything else that you do. That's a worthy ideal. That's success. However you measure success, ultimately that is a successful piece of work that you do annually. Life Remixed is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. I think that's the success. That's what we want to look for. So we want to look back and say, okay, how far have we come? And then we want to drive ourselves on. If we're not driving ourselves on for something, health, wealth, happiness, if we're not driving to something, we're like the cork. We're like a cork on the ocean, or a boat going out to sea with no rudder. You must have a direction. If I was to try and get on a boat to come to Spain, Andy, I wouldn't just go in and get in a boat and just bob around on the ocean until I hopefully got there, because I wouldn't. I want to make sure I've got a compass, a rudder, an engine, and a direction, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks and I'll be there, that kind of thing.
Okay, so well, that's very clear. Sorry.
No, I was
you're
say,
you're breaking up there. Are you on your Wi-Fi? Because
I am, mate, because I'm on the laptop. That's the
yeah,
problem.
because you keep
I could log
breaking
in. I
up.
could log into the Blue Jeans on the other computer. One sec. Let me log in on
Okay, you
this.
try that. Let me say good evening to Craig. Craig Woodage joins us. Good evening, brother. Someone who's more than familiar with the e-colors, while Mark is just checking out that, because that's why I started to talk over you, Mark. You were breaking up ever so slightly there and getting jittery. Um, Ted says Andy used to have a real defensive streak. Well, that actually comes down as well to social media. It's very difficult to read the tone in replies sometimes, and the last thing I am is defensive. But that's a topic that we can discuss a little later on. Good evening, Jane. So, Mark, everything that you were just saying there about having being the cork on the ocean, I understand about that, but isn't that more about plans for the future? How does that help us when looking back?
I think looking back, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to move to the desktop, Andy, because I
Don't
can't get
worry
Blue
about
Jeans
it.
open on that. But we'll deal with it. I think we'll be okay. Looking back is certainly an opportunity to review how far we've come. I don't recommend looking back with lots of emotion stuck to that. I actually think that we should be looking back and congratulating ourselves, giving ourselves a little pat on the back, and saying, look, you've done really well, and then motivating yourself to move forwards.
Okay. So don't overanalyze your year if it hasn't particularly been a great year.
No, and I would say that actually one of the big things I do with coaching clients is we do a lot of subconscious clearance, which is emotional clearance of the past. Now, some people will go to therapy for that, and that is, an amazing thing to do. I had therapy 20 years ago. Having therapy helps clear the past, and then coaching is very much about the present moment and moving forwards. Having said that, coaching can also help people look back at the past to join the dots, go, and to bring us to the present moment. And that's why I only work with people for a minimum of 12 months, because that it often takes that 12 months for people to join those dots, to clear the subconscious, to then be able to move forward and actually start to think about success.
Okay, makes sense. Makes complete sense. So then that will bring us forward to you already said why making plans benefits us, and because you are very much focused on helping people get their minds in place and help them out financially, give them a plan in life. You always say that you need to think big. You need to set yourself impossible goals. That is very difficult for some people to perceive. And I see you writing things down. I've obviously said something wrong there when I used the word impossible. I know I did.
Oh, surely not.
I'm a good student, aren't I?
Yeah, you know what I'm doing, but yeah, the word impossible is an interesting one. I don't let my coaching clients get away with the word impossible ever. What I do say, and I learned this from Bob, is set a goal that seems so big and so outrageous that when you get to it, you'll know it's because of all the information that you've been taught, through a coach. Um, and I remember doing that with my first 100 grand a year goal when I was bankrupt. I said, right, I'm going to earn 100 grand a year. I had no concept of how I was going to do it ever. But Bob said to me, just set the goal. I said, okay. And I did it. And within 3 years, I was smashing that out of the park. And I think that, nothing is impossible unless we decide it is, right? And that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. You've just been on the Born Rich. You've been on Bob Proctor's Born Rich book club that we've done together. Every chapter in that book is about visualization, goal setting, understanding yourself, understanding other people, understanding your strengths and your potential limiters, which is what we do with e-colors, and getting yourself to expand your mind so that you realize that actually anything is possible for you once you've decided to go for it.
hmm In one of the talks that we were on, I think it was during that book club, um, a uh, a person within that was talking about different people have different outlooks. They use different language, and they will come to you with an argument, say, "Well, I'm just a realist," and you cannot set yourself goals that are too big, and you had a very strong way, a very strong comeback for that, which I can't pull from the back of my mind now, but I know you'll be able to nail it for me.
Well, all I would say straight off the bat with that one is when you're on your rocking chair in like 30 or 40 years time, you tell yourself you're a realist. That's fine. You crack on with that. Essentially, we are human beings. We've been given the opportunity to create a vision in our minds. We've been given the opportunity to think and feel, and we are the creators. We are the creators. And the sooner we understand that message and we become responsible for even the stuff you don't like, but you become responsible for it and say, yeah, all right, I created an incurable disease, I created bankruptcy, not great things really, but actually they turned me into this guy. So actually I'm massively grateful for them. But we've been given an opportunity, and most people tiptoe through life hoping to get safely to death. And when they're saying as I'm a realist, those people, they need help. They need help to expand their minds. They need help to look at a bigger world view, a bigger opportunity. I coach many people like that. I also coach some really big picture people that want to be even more successful and to touch more people's lives. In e-colors, we would talk about someone who's a top color green, like Emma, Emma, my wife, a top color green in e-colors. She needs to know how, everything. And everything I've studied in all of this personal development, you just don't need to know how. You just need to set a huge goal and then get to work.
It is very, being one of those people, I understand how very daunting it can be for people. And I just want to try and get that across for some people, that it may seem daunting, but until you take that first step, really, because I made a very tongue-in-cheek comment to you, didn't I, when I was saying, oh, Mark, this is all poppycock. It's absolute nonsense. Who really believes this? And yet, I really do, for reasons we'll get into. Let me say hi to Chris Hunter. Let me share these words with you, Mark. Chris says, I wanted to say a big thank you to Mark. From being introduced to Life Remixed and hearing his words of wisdom, I've got my head into gear. I'm buying a new house and have just got engaged to someone I adore. Being happy, wealthy, and healthy is the goal, and a positive mental attitude is essential. Thank you, Chris. There. I mean, you must bask. You must bask in those wonderful words that you get from people, and yet others on the outside, like the scene in Trading Places of the guy dressed up in a battered Santa outfit looking through the restaurant window, everyone having a great time. That's how it can seem to some people, but it doesn't need to be unattainable, does it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's why I wrote Life Remixed, because at 39 I was bankrupt. At 33 I couldn't walk. And those were shattering moments in my life. But once I put all the strategies that I've written in the book, once I put all those strategies into position and I actually got moving on them, I had faith and belief. One of the things you were saying there about, prompted a thought in my mind about Martin Luther King when he said, you don't need to see the whole staircase, you just need to take the first step. You've just got to take the first step. And the first step is belief. Once you believe in you, and that's what a coach does, by the way. A coach believes in you and says, hey, listen, Andy, you or anyone else, Angela, or anyone else who's watching, Chris, I believe in you. Go for it. You've got nothing to lose. Go for it. Go set your goal. Set a goal that seems so big that it's going to blow your mind when you get there. It happened to me on my comeback from the disease and the bankruptcy. It happened to anyone else. It is literally down to you. And many people have to get out of their own way, Andy, which you know about.
Indeed, and all of my friends will be fully aware of my journey to bring more people into my own subscription program. I remember thinking, wow, if I can just get to 30 people to join me, surely I should be able to get 30 people to join me out of all of my friends and all the people who come vocal booth. And it was tough getting to 30. Then I pushed it on, and then I was like, I'm happy now. And you said to me, no, Andy, you've got something great there that you can offer people. Get out of your own way, have some faith in yourself. Just keep doing what you're doing. And you did. If it wasn't for you, and I've said it before on your platform, and I'm happy to say it again here, if it wasn't for you, I would not have continued to do what I do the way that I do it. I would not have forced myself into situations that made me feel uncomfortable. Here I am, towards the end of the year. I've hit my 100 subscribers that I wanted. Literally today, I've just got my 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which was the goal that I really wanted to do. And thank you to everyone that's joined me on that. And so, yeah, I wanted to just say to people that it can be done. You do truly just have to believe, as crazy as it may sound, as poppycock as it may sound, but it doesn't always have to be financial goals, does it? That's what I want to try and get across as well. It doesn't have to be financially motivated.
No, and some people have a bad thing about money or a bad vibe about money. Money isn't good or bad. Money just makes you more of what you already are. If you're a good person and you get a lot of money, you can be a great person. If you're not the greatest person and you get a lot of money, you can be a tremendously awful person. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, money is not an emotion. The emotion is the human being. What I would like to say as well is the fact that what did I say? Once you'd hit your 100 people in the subscription for the what do you call
Set
it?
the goal for a
I forgot what you called
thousand.
it.
Access. It's okay,
Access.
Mark.
Thank you.
You've only been a member
And
yourself for 6 months. Don't worry about it.
I just pay the money and I just watch you do it, and I'm like, go Andy, yeah, have the money every month. Just I'm not fussed. I don't care. It's like it's nothing. It's just money, you know. One of my friends said to me once, "It's only money. We can get some more, and we can." You know what I mean? I've proven it in dramatic scale. But I said to you when you got to 100, I said, right, get 1,000 now. Now, of
Mhm.
course, you're probably sitting there going like, "Oh, here we go." But the point is that you got to set a goal. You've got to set a goal.
Yeah, but it does, that perfectly brings me on to the point that it does have to be something that you, again, it's about language, and it is between a very fine line. If somebody isn't ready, if somebody isn't in that situation where they can set a goal that is so crazy that they can't even think about getting this far, like you say, don't look at the staircase, just take the step in front of you. My wife is here commenting, I'll let you talk so much. She says, I find that other people have more confidence in what I do, talking about herself, than I do in myself. I wish I had as much confidence in myself as others do in me sometimes. Now that's crazy to read, because I know how amazing she is. It's crazy, right?
Well, Michelle is an awesome partner for you, and I love. Was it 31 years or something? I saw the other day. It's fantastic marriage and fantastic partnership. You two. Yes, it's very often easier for other people to believe in us than it is for us to believe in ourselves. But actually, I have to tell you that that's limiting behaviour. It's a limiting belief. Ultimately, I know how good I am. I never would have said that previously. 12 years ago, whatever. I never would have said that. But I know how good I am. I know I'm really good at what I do. I see the results now, and the more and more and more I see the results, the more and more confident I become. I want to be very, very clear about this. It's not ego, ego, ego. Aren't I amazing? It's not. I'm not wearing a mask about how great I am. I'm just very confident in the fact that I've learnt this stuff. I've tested it out for myself. It works. I've written a book about it, which also works. And then I'm getting up to nearly like 80 coaching clients around the world. I just had a new coaching client sign up from South Africa, and I'm doing the first session with him in the morning. We've got coaching clients in Australia and Japan and all over Europe and the UK, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. What I would add to that as well is that when the student is ready, the teacher will be there. So your point about being outside looking in or whatever, if people aren't ready for the information and they're not ready to accept the fact that actually success starts within. If they're not ready for that, then they'll reject me and they'll reject the information. And that might be what prompts some of those haters we started out with when we were talking about them. But that's okay. They've got their journey, and I wish them all the best for it. If I can help and someone would like my help, I'm 100% I'm on board. I'm here to help.
Okay, so you saying this about limiting behavior, that will bring us on to, we're skipping about all these points, but we are covering them perfectly. You have to start with yourself, right? The journey starts within. I'm sure there are a million quotes that you could give me on that. I understand, being currently on a very huge part of my self discovery journey. Um, that's started a few years ago and is ongoing. Learning to love yourself is the first step, and then when that happens, it's amazing how you have the strength to let go of the nonsense in your life. You have the wisdom to welcome in other opportunities. And as you say, if you make yourself ready to see the opportunities, they do present themselves a lot more, don't they?
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, I shared a quote earlier, which you said would be a good one for us to say tonight, so I'll mention it. It's a Dalai Lama quote, who obviously has found a lot of peace in his life, despite huge suffering, losing his country, etc. Dalai Lama said, The Dalai Lama said, we can never obtain peace in the outer world until we make peace with ourselves. And then I would add on to that, just after the Dalai Lama comes a Mark Wilkinson quote. But we could never obtain, true success in the outer world until we become successful within. So once we believe in ourselves, Michelle, once we fully believe in ourselves, the outer world will get even better and better and better. And this is a journey. I'm 52. I plan to be here for another 50 years, fingers crossed, right? So in that next 50 years, I would like to become more and more successful. But it starts with me looking in the mirror and understanding that what you were saying, Andy, about loving myself is the start point of everything. And if I asked you what love is, what would be your answer?
For me, getting very deep, I think loving myself is accepting errors in the past that I believe I've made. I've lost people close to me that brought up feelings of guilt that I couldn't really change. It enabled me to not make mistakes, make the same mistakes that I have made in the past. And always, one of the biggest things for me is always talking to people. It sounds a bit morbid. I wrote words like this in the vocal booth program, always treating people as if it's the last time I could possibly ever talk to them. And that stops me from having arguments with people. It stops me from biting at people where I would have done in the past, possibly. And I'm truly in in a very calm place. Not all the time. I'm still a work in progress, but I'm so much better than I used to be, and I'm so much happy with the person that I am becoming.
That's the journey, isn't it? That's the healthy person on a journey to continuous improvement and keep it moving forward. So that is it. But the word you said right at the start when I asked you what love is, you said it. It's acceptance. It's actually total acceptance. So if we can get to a place of true love, which is total acceptance, and we can look in the mirror and talk to ourselves in a version of absolute total acceptance of, hey, this is me, this is my face, these are my glasses, this is my hair, this is who I am, this is it. Totally accept myself. You mentioned the word earlier about vibration. Total acceptance of self. So some people will be thinking, oh my God, he's peace and love, crazy hippie. But actually, total acceptance of self is the most positive vibration you can possibly be in. Once you've got it, and it takes time, it takes some people a long time, some people it takes a lifetime. A coach will get you there quicker, by the way. Certainly works for me. But total acceptance of yourself then leads you to a position where you can then radiate that out to other people, and you then become a shining light of love. And as you say, you no longer lose your rag with people. You keep calm in situations.
Much.
Once you've got that vibration, you are then in a position where you can then be truly successful. You can have all the happiness, all the health, all the wealth, all the money, everything else that you want. You can have it, but it starts where we were just talking about there, and it starts where you're starting on that journey of pure acceptance of yourself. From me, I can see from the outside looking in. That's why I'm in your ear from time to time, going, "Come on, a little bit more, please. Come on, you can do it," because I'm your mate, and I'm like, "You've got this. You know what to do. You just need a coach behind you going, come on, mate."
Yeah, I get that. Siobhan joins us. She says, "Love this. Thank you. Nice to have you with us, Siobhan. Thanks for passing it through." Yeah, so success is many things to many different people, isn't it? And let's bring this back around to the topic of the conversation. Fail to plan, plan to fail. So how do people begin making plans? What's the first thing that they need to do?
Well, there's two different ways round of doing it. I mean, one of the things I'm going to change, rather than be a life and business coach next year, Emma and I have decided to change that slightly and just call me a success coach, because I am about success in relationships. I'm about success in yourself. I'm about success at work or in entrepreneurial or whatever it is. I'm all about success. For people listening, you've got two different ways round of doing it. One is start to set some goals and give yourself 90 days to start setting some goals. 90 days is 3 months, and you might say, right, I want to shed a bit of weight, or I want to build a bit of muscle, or I'd like a spare £10,000 in my bank account. I'd like, whatever it is, you just decide, right, I'm going to do these things and I'm going to take some steps towards. I'm going to set the goal. I'm going to feel good about the goal. And then I'm going to take action steps, even if there's small action steps every day. I'm going to take action steps towards it so that I achieve what it is that I would like to achieve in those 90 days. So that's one way round. What tends to happen when people do that, excuse me, it might be like New Year's resolutions, as I mentioned earlier. Sometimes they tend not to stick because people say, oh, I'd really like that. If they're wishing for something, a wish is basically something that hasn't got a date on it, hasn't got a definite plan to get there. So a goal is a wish with a plan, essentially. So we need to get where we need to get to. We need to set a goal and say, right, 90 days time, I would like X, Y, Z. Now, I can pretty much guarantee you that if someone is in line with their thoughts, their feelings and their actions, which is attitude, thoughts, feelings and actions is attitude. Someone's on point with their attitude. They've got a purpose, which is a much bigger subject, which often takes longer to understand what a human being's purpose for being on the planet is. But if they can get to a purpose, they can hold a vision of what it is they would like to achieve, and then they set those goals over the 90 days, and they keep doing it. Every 90 days they set some new ones and some new ones and some new ones. I guarantee you that by this time next year, when we do this interview again in 12 months time, if you follow these instructions, you can do it either way around. You can either just set the goals and keep chipping away at it, but where most people come unstuck because they haven't done the purpose and the vision first. However, you can do it that way. However, what I do work with people is I work with people to find out that purpose, define it, have a vision, hold the vision in the mind. When the vision is in the mind, you set the goals in line with those purpose and vision, and then you get to where you want to get to much, much quicker. And also, Usain Bolt had a coach, right? I mean, every president of the United States has got a coach. Everyone's got a coach to bounce something around, get a new idea, and get to work. And that's why I see people every 2 weeks in what I do. You can do it any way around you want to do it. You can go and buy books on these subjects, read the books, and then get to work yourself. I encourage every single person to have some sort of plan and then put it up on the wall. Excuse me. My walls are surrounded with my next book cover, £1 million notes, my next live event. I've got stuff everywhere. I've got stuff everywhere because when I see it, it triggers my vision. It's literally on my vision. So I can look around and go, yeah, okay, there's the vision. That's what I'm working towards. And then we keep going. Every single person has this ability, but it's a bit like going to the mental gym. You have to go to the gym, right? Andy, you go to the gym, right? If you want to get that muscle, you've got to keep going to the gym. If you don't go, the muscle goes away. The mind is exactly the same.
That's a brilliant analogy to bring in here, because I wanted to talk about, and it's a topic I'm going to do at length when I found the right person. You would be the right person, but I'm looking for another person. The content that we consume on a daily basis, it's poisoning our minds, right? The memes that we read, the jokes, the sarcastic nature of the way that people are constantly communicating. You do need to consciously think about the content that you're consuming. And I made an off-the-cuff post a couple of weeks ago saying, we literally, you hear the meme, the cliche, you are what you eat. That also relates to the content, the books that we read, the podcasts that we listen to, the films that we watch. Bring more positive into your life, right? That's got to be a good starting point.
Well, absolutely. One of the things that Bob Proctor said to me many, many years ago now, he said, go on a negativity fast, Mark. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, what's a negativity fast? He went, well, what do you think? He was like, just clear away all the negatives in your life. Switch off the news, if someone's having a conversation and it's very negative and they're complaining or bitching or moaning or superstition, or they're sarcastic or they're gossiping or anything like that, give it a couple of minutes and then try and change the subject, or try and help the conversation flow to a more positive place. And if it doesn't work, and they want to stay doing that, excuse yourself and walk away, Mark. And I was kind of like, whoa, really? Okay. But I did it, and I did it for 30 days, and I've never looked back. I'm like, yeah, okay. And what's interesting, Andy, about that, if I'm honest, is that I went through that process. I went on that negativity fast, and I kept with it and kept with it and kept with it. What's happened over a period of time is now I can switch on the news. I have a quick look at a news app and see what's going on, because I need to be informed. Of course I do. I'm advising people about all kinds of things in life, but I'm no longer emotionally caught up in it. And that's the power of this. Once you're no longer emotionally caught up in the media or someone else's gossip or someone else's... I am resilient enough now that I'm no longer emotionally caught up in any of it. All I'm caught up in emotionally is my success and total acceptance and love. And therefore I can radiate that out to other people, and they can succeed wherever they want to.
One of the things that I know for a fact I'm going to come to in a moment. Let me just say hello to Katrina and to Lester. Lester, please make sure you go back and watch the beginning of this video. I made some comments with you in the back of my mind. Actually, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Emily also. If you didn't see the beginning of the video, make sure you go back and check it out. Katrina says, I love that. Why I don't watch the news anymore? It's a great idea. What I was going to say to you, Mark, is you radiating that positivity. I guarantee there's not many people, if anybody, that would come to you to complain about anything or bitch about somebody. And yet there are little echo chambers out there. It's a word I keep hearing a lot, echo chambers of people. They'll just complain about their friends. They complain about situations they're in, and it's just like dragging you down, And so once you have that attitude, I have a very good friend on Facebook who is feeling a little, well, I don't know what he's feeling, but I wanted to comment on some of his posts, as you had to me in the past. And I stopped myself on it, but it was just negative post after negative post. And he's an extremely positive person. And in the end, I couldn't stop myself anymore. I just messaged him. I said, listen, can we have some positivity from you, please? He's like, no, what are you talking about? I'm not negative. I'm not negative. And we had a little conversation. I said, it's all coming from a place I love, my friend. Consciously think about what you're posting on socials and what you're consuming. It's got to be the easiest way to begin your journey into 2023.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, there's a great book called The Power of Now by a guy called Eckhart Tolle, and I don't recommend it as a first book because it's very, very, very deep. I often recommend people start with The Secret, for instance, because that was a fantastic film and helped millions and millions of people around the world. But The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, in that book, he says complaining is actually madness. What he says about a situation, if you're in a situation and you're not happy about it, you either got to accept it, you got to leave it, or you got to change it. Now, you accept it by saying total acceptance, okay, it is what it is. You leave it and say, I'm no longer vibrating with that, so I need to move on. Or you change it. Now, you don't change anybody else. The only person you change is you. So as soon as you stop, you made a very valid point that as soon as you stop complaining, guess what? I live in this vibration of like absolute love and positivity, apart from a few haters here and there on some Facebook posts. No one comes to me to complain about everything because all I radiate is positive energy. All the negative people, they leave me alone now. They probably think I'm a bit bonkers. I'm all right with that. It's fine, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm nice and positive. I'm in a positive vibration. Everyone's in a good place. Emma, Frankie, all the coaching clients, all my friends, everyone's growing. The book is touching thousands of lives. It's doing a great thing. I'm happy with myself. So why would anyone come to me to complain?
Indeed. I'd like to think I'm on the same plane as you from that aspect. Silly little things, I'm not in any WhatsApp groups with any of my friends, any of the lads, none of the banter that goes on and stuff like that. It's just, it's As you say, sometimes you can seem a little aloof. You can sound like you're above it all, but it just doesn't. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't inspire me, and I'm all about inspiring positivity.
But Andy, you no longer vibrate in harmony with that.
I don't think I ever
Your
have, though.
thoughts.
Really, I don't think I ever have.
Okay. Okay. But I know that I used to vibrate in harmony with sex, drugs, and house music. Right nowadays, I vibrate in harmony with positive thinking, positive feeling, and bringing joy to people. I used to bring joy to people through music, but it contained a lot of negativity for me at the time, which I've written about in Life Remixed. All I'm interested in now, from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to sleep, is how I can bring joy to someone else. That's it.
Hmm. Okay, so I think we have given people the overall outlook as to what the easy things that they can do. Go on a negativity fast to begin with. Think about what they're consuming. Asking for Christmas gifts, positive Christmas gifts, good podcasts. I mean, there's so much incredible content out there. It's insane. But you talk about wanting to help and change people's lives, which you have done with the book. So, Life Remixed, this is our opportunity to give it a plug in case there's any people who aren't aware of it. It is, I'll be the first to say, it is a great book. It's something that we can all relate to because it does start off in the club scene. As Mark says, there's a lot of talk of sex, drugs, and house music. So, it's a bestseller for a reason. 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes to sell your book. Come on.
Uh, well, I mean, first of all, I don't do hard sell, right? But at the end of the day, if you're in a place where you're just not really feeling great about life, if there's just something missing, you might be unhappy, unhealthy, you might be skint, or you might just be like, I'm doing all right. But I've got a couple of coaching clients that are borderline, if not already millionaires, but they're coming to me because they've achieved a goal and they feel empty. That is fascinating to me because many people set goal after goal after goal and keep achieving those goals. But when they get to the goal, they go, is this it? Right. And that's difficult. So Life Remixed is about understanding yourself. What I do in the book is I literally studied all of these philosophers and all of these authors and very, very successful people. And all I've done is drawn a thread all the way through it. So, I often say to people, don't take my word for anything. Try it out for yourself. Because I've heard many, Robert Kiyosaki, Kevin Green, Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, all these people saying to me, don't take my word for it, Mark. Try it out for yourself. And I've done it and it works. And I'm like, right, okay then. And all I've done is literally just joined all the dots all the way through to prove to people that, I am living proof that you can be bankrupt, you can be diseased, you can be I'll say suicidal, borderline suicidal. I don't think I ever would have done it, but certainly, I was that low at times. You can be all of those things. You can be lonely. You can be without a relationship. You could be right on your arse, signing on, living in your mum's spare room, and you can still bounce back. You can remix your own life and you can bounce back, provided you follow the steps that I've said in this book and you action them for yourself.
Let me ask you. Beautiful question here, and I'm glad it's come from someone else, just so it gives me a good reference point because this is the things that I say to you a lot. My friend Katrina says, "I'm going to have to get this, going to have to get myself this for Christmas," and then she comes back and says, "But it's not all about money, though, is it?" See, because not everybody is excited about money, and I will say no, it isn't. I will say this book definitely is worth a read. The same as the book that started me on this journey, and I'm definitely not about money. Think and Grow Rich. I've been reading that book for 30 years now. And every time I read that book, something amazing happens to me. The title itself can put a lot of people off, but it's just about changing your mindset. It's about changing, loving your body, making changes to your body, getting into a better state of mind. And that's the same as, you've also a big fan of Think and Grow Rich. You did the Think and Grow Rich book club. So you are following in the footsteps of all of these greats, right?
Well, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, Life Remixed is not all about money. Life Remixed is about having a very healthy relationship with yourself and then deciding what you would like. Having been bankrupt, I know signing on the dole 12 years ago, I know that absolutely sucks, and I don't ever want to be there again. But what I would say is life is meant to be abundant. You are meant to have whatever it is you would like to have. You don't have to be motivated by money. Many people think that money's the root of all evil, right? It absolutely isn't. It's the person, it's the people that actually bastardize the money. Money is just a bit of paper with some numbers on it, you know. And if you want to fly business class or you want to go on nice holidays or whatever, then you better make sure you've got money. The way you get money is to add value to other people's lives and give a great service. Nothing bad about that whatsoever. Nothing at all. So ultimately, you guys get to decide whatever it is you would like in your life. But Life Remixed is the guide that I've written to show others that actually personal development does work once you're committed to it. Because there'll be a lot of people, like you said earlier, Andy, outside the window looking in, going, this is all bollocks, doesn't work, you know, blah, 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 blah. And to be fair, even when I was completely down on materially with nothing, Bob Proctor was saying all this stuff, and I was kind of like, really sure about, you know, what I can just think myself in. I can just think and grow rich, can I just change the way I think, and I'll get, you know, I'll build up all my money again and love myself and be happy and healthy and attract a partner. Oh really, I just changed how I think, do I? And part of me was like that, and I've written that in the book as well. I'm kind of like, I'm a bit skeptical here, but skepticism is actually fear. Okay, skepticism is fear. Like impatience is also fear. You know, there's all the time you need. You've got all the love you need. You've got all the money you need. But it starts within you. Forget about what's going on outside of you as best you can while you do the inner work. And once you've done the inner work, you can literally attract whatever it is you would like. And I know this from experience. And I know all my clients know this from experience. And it's wonderful for me to see people change. And even people that aren't one-to-one coaching with me, people that are just on the outskirts, and you and me having a chat, Andy, and Chris and other people, just testing things out and trying them out for themselves. Like you said earlier, it's music to my ears when people come back to me and just say, hey, Mark, listen, I tried that and it works. And I'm like, great. I'm like, right, try something bigger. Go again.
You and I are always having the conversation, because you know very much how sort of guarded I am towards money, and you know there's a lot of baggage in my history. There's a wall there, and I know you'd love to get inside my head. I know you'd love to work with me, and slowly but surely, you know, the resistance is breaking down in me. So, you know, my 2023 is like, yeah, okay, let's, and I'm always coming back to you with different angles. Well, Mark, what about this? What about that? Angela says to Katrina, Angela is a very good friend of Katrina's. She says, it's really good, the book, and it was sent to me at exactly the right time. So that's the whole point of why I do these talks. I want to bring in everyday people who are super in their own right, of course, but that we can all relate to. Not some expert off the TV who, you know, seems completely out of reach and out of touch with reality. I know you don't like that word, but these things are attainable. They are achievable, but they just need the right step in the right place, and it all begins within, right?
And you have to have your if you're going to build a house, you've got to do the foundations solid first, right? Well, you know, unless we were born to like Buddhist millionaire, you know, successful people that were totally in love with themselves and each other, and, you know, I mean, none of us were really born that way to parents like that, right? But the point is, then we have a journey to go on ourselves, and that journey to go on ourselves is a journey of getting the solid foundations in place, and then being able to build from there. My solid foundation started at 39 years of age as a bankrupt. That's when I started to build solid foundations. Before that, I was the cork on the ocean, just bouncing around, life happening to me all of the time. What I realized was, after the disease and the bankruptcy, was life was happening for me. It was happening for me to understand this information and then become as successful as all the people I was reading about. And I was like, okay, now I'm all in, let's go. And ever since the last just over 12 years now, I mean, I've turned my annual income back then into a monthly income now. That's not a mistake. That's not an accident. No way.
Wonderful. Well, Angela says she's 58, as you know. She's just laid the last brick of her foundation. Emily watching, she says, that's what stops me. After I go for it, it is fear. All of these things. So we have the book, Amazon bestseller. Do you still sell them direct, or is it better for people to go onto Amazon?
No, no, absolutely. If you just go on markwilkinsonofficial.com, we can send out copies, send out signed copies as well if people want them. As I say, it's reached a good few thousand people now. You've read it, Angela's read it. People are reading it, and whether or not they come into coaching is entirely up to them. As long as they read it, and then the reading list at the back of the book then leads on to other things. So immediately, what comes to my mind, Andy, is you shared something about it. Grant Nelson came on, and I know of Grant, but I never really met him before. Fantastic producer, amazing dude. He read it, put a post out about it. It shot back up the Amazon charts. And I met Grant at the Bobby and Steve Foundation event back at 93 Feet East, back a few months ago. And Grant and I were just bonding and chatting. But he was going, that reading list at the back. He goes, I've read your book. He went, I'm a massive fan of you, Mark. I love it. I love what you've done. I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. He's like, and that reading list, he goes, I'm off on As a Man Thinketh and Think and Grow Rich and The Secret and all this. And I'm like, go Grant,
Yeah.
Because every successful person has written their success down in a book to share it with you. So why would you... Bob used to say to me, I left school and probably read one or two books as a DJ. That was it. And then I started reading. And Bob said, he basically said, a person who doesn't read, who chooses not to read, has no opportunity over someone that can't read, I should say. So the bottom line is there's no excuses now. There's audio books. There's everything. If you don't want to pick up a book and read a physical book, listen to book. But as you say, make the right choices. Listen to people that inspire you and take on board their messages and go for it yourself. Because when you're on your rocking chair, I want you to be sitting there going, whoa, that was amazing. And in Think and Grow Rich, as you well know, Andy, there's stories of people that were bankrupt at 60 and millionaires by the time they were 70.
Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. Paulette is watching. She's like the stream on our other channel. So there's an array of channels that people are watching this. So thank you everyone for the participation. Guarantee this will have had a profound effect on someone, if not immediately, then in the next couple of days. And so let's throw forward to 2023. One of your big goals that you had during lockdown was to overcome your fear of public speaking. Fear maybe is not the right word, but then you actually did it, got to the Isha Theatre, and you put this idea along with your wife, the idea of Life Remixed Live. Tell us about that, because as I'm sure you're aware, time is cracking on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm not in a major rush, Andy, as you know. I do have a coaching client later, but that's fine. What I would say about Life Remix Live was, yes, you're right. The fear is the right word. I had a fear of public speaking, which when people heard that, they were always like, what? No, you're a DJ in front of thousands of people. Yeah. I was like, yeah, but I know I'm good at that. Right? Put a microphone on me. I'm not sure I'm good at that. Again, that's belief, isn't it? But I chose to believe that actually I could be a great public speaker if I just got out of my own way, stopped thinking about myself and thought about the people that I was there to serve. And I got out of my own way and I stood up and I spoke for about 7 hours at the first one. And we've done 3 now. We've done 3 in 2022. It's a huge goal for me. We've had about 120, 150 people at each one. It's been a huge goal for me. To put on an event and speak like that and share, and then put on an after party in the evening. We've had CJ McIntosh and Danny Rampling and Bobby, of course, and it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful to put on these events. Emma and I have got big plans for 2023. We're going to do one more Life Remix Live at the Isha Theatre on the 28th of January. So Saturday,
well,
the 28th
as you
of
say
January.
that, I can bring it up onto the screen. It's partly blocking your face, but Life Remix 2023. Other way. Set your goals and plan for an incredible year. And this is the cost of living crisis special rates. So tell us about that.
So basically, I just decided to make it as cheap as possible. In an ideal world, I'd just make it free, right? I'd just say, look, it's completely free. Come in, fill your boots, but there's probably about 3 or 4 grand's worth of expenses. So much as I'd love to front that for everybody, at the end of the day, I'm asking everyone to buy a ticket for 20 quid for the day and the night. Come along, enjoy. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about success, whatever success means. One of the things I get is a lot of people come to me and they'd like to succeed financially, but their foundation isn't right with their relationship with themselves and their relationship of their significant other. And those are things that can be fixed. They can be fixed through coaching and moving forwards with good information. And my next book is going to be all about relationships, in fact. And we are going to look at success. We're going to look at how to succeed in all areas of your life. I've made it 20 quid, as I say, for the day and night. It's plus the booking fee. And CJ McIntosh is going to DJ in the evening, who's just my absolute DJ hero. So we're going to have a wonderful event on the 28th of January. That's our last one. And then from there, we're going to be doing weekends. So we're going to be doing retreats. Emma wants to do a retreat weekend, probably in the summer. So we'll do a retreat weekend somewhere in the UK. And then Andy, I'll be coming to you and we're doing something in Spain. I'm sure we've spoken about it. It's going to happen. You just got to keep the vision, right? But the point is that 28th of January is very, very much about, look, yes, there's the media want to pump you full of fear. How many crises have we had? If you go to the media, how many crises have we had in the last 12 months? COVID, the Ukraine war. What else was there? Obviously, all the political stuff. Various different crises. Monkey flu or monkey pox or whatever it was. There's another one. There's always a crisis. There's always something to be afraid of, and the media pump you full of that in order that you are controlled. Yeah, because if you're controlled, you'll be a good little employee and you'll pay your taxes and you'll be nice and you'll just get through life and you'll tiptoe through life to get safely to death. The point of this is that you don't have to have fear. You just have to have faith in yourself. One of the great American leaders, it might have been Theodore Roosevelt, I can't remember, said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And yet the media are just pumping us full of this stuff. There is a cost of living crisis. Look, you just got to understand how to earn more cash and do better with yourself and your life. And I teach people how to do it. I love doing it because I've done it myself, Andy.
I hear that. So if anybody has any questions that have been listening and watching, then please do feel free. As Mark and I start wrapping up, I'll address them to him. So that's going to be at the end of January. So people can get that. They're going to come away from it, and you're not going to have them strong-armed up a corner trying to get them to become coaching clients with you, right?
No. Honestly, no. I've seen people do hard sell and it turns me off. I don't like it at all. What's the point in that? I don't want to hard sell someone. What I do want is I want to help every human being live a better life. And if they want to live a better life, there are certain steps they need to take to be able to get there. Some people, look, thousands of people have bought the book, right? And it costs a tenner on Amazon, or a bit more if you want my signed copy or whatever on my Mark Wilkinson official website. Thousands of people have bought the book, and if they just buy the book and it gets them to do something else and gets moving, I'm really happy. Fantastic. If they decide to pay 20 quid and come to our event for the day and they just do the event for the day and they love it and they're like, wow, this is amazing, it's changed my mindset, I've got new ways of thinking and feeling, I'm going to go out and action it, and I'm going to read more books and go to more seminars, I'm going to study with more people. Magic. Brilliant. If they want to use my time and they want a one-to-one coach, then reach out. Reach out and we'll discuss it and we'll find a solution. That's it. I absolutely am not interested in hard selling anyone. The bottom line is that for me, as I say, I've seen people do that and I don't like it. All I want is people to, and this is a DJ. Part of my purpose is to bring joy to other people. We did it with music. Now we can do it with these kind of talks. There's lots of ways to bring joy to people. And bringing joy to someone is not hard selling them for a few £1,000s worth of coaching where they get totally freaked out and don't get the result that they want. The real thing is every single one of my clients, once we've done the coaching, they go out there and they go, that was amazing. That's changed my outlook. It's changed my results. It's changed my success, and it's all for the better. That's the real key to this. And that's why I'm passionate about what I'm doing.
Well, I share your passion. I share your enthusiasm. I have a handful of people that I know personally I've directed to you, and they've gotten so much from you, irrespective, is that the right word, of being a coaching client, just from the positive energy that you emit, and just it's that part of that stepping stone, that those positivity blocks building up inside. I just don't think you can get enough of it. Every day, I'm full of cliches. Every day's a learning day, and then we were saying I asked you a question the other day, something about do you use the word excited, Mark? Because I was excited about something. I'm going to Iceland in a couple of days, and I said, "Is excited a good word to use?" And you said, "No, we don't say excited. I'm full of enthusiasm." So it's
Well, there's a big
there's a
difference. There's a big difference. Yeah, there's a big difference, Andy. Right? If you get excited, I'll show you the same person who gets depressed. Excited, depressed, excited, depressed, excited, depressed. It's like a roller coaster. Life's, and it gets bonkers, and it can be hugely, degrading, degradation into your life. You can, if you're depressed and you're sad, depression is actually anger turned inwards, by the way. If you turn that anger back in on yourself, you get depressed, you feel down, and then the next minute you're all excited because something might happen or something's going to happen. That's no way to live. I used to live that way, by the way, but it's no way to live. The way to live is enthusiasm, entheos. Entheos is actually in God, believe it or not, and it means God within, or a person with God-like energy. So they called people entheos when they had, that's where the word enthusiasm comes from, entheos, when they had this just abounds, positive energy of entheos, in a good place. And yes, of course, that can attract haters. It's okay. Everyone's got their own journey, but please don't get excited, because you will end up depressed at certain times. Just be enthusiastic all the time, Andy.
Katrina has a question I'm going to come to before this goes out of my mind. In the book club, you were talking about, you're always enthusiastic, and I am always enthusiastic. I go to the gym every morning and people say to me, "Good morning, how are you?" And I say, "Fantastic," always. And they literally look at me through the corner of their eye and they go, "Always?" And I say, "Yeah, always." And it's funny. It's funny to see. So Katrina asked, she has, what if you have more than one goal and they're both pretty big? Do you focus on one at a time or go for it in different areas of life? I mean, she adds.
So the word I use when someone asks me, how are you, Mark? I always say wonderful, because for me, wonderful means full of wonder. If you turn it around. And I'm wonderful. I'm full of wonder. What will happen in this conversation? What will happen in my next coaching call? What will happen when I see Emma in a bit and Frankie? Full of wonder. To answer Katrina's question, one of the things I decided when I was bankrupt and skint, one of the things I decided was I'm going to have multiple sources of income. I didn't know how. As a top colour, green and E colours, or even Andy he's a red green as a second colour. They want to know how, these people. How does that work? How does that work? I need to analyse it. I need to know the detail of it. Honestly, you don't need to know how. I just decided I was going to have multiple sources of income, because I put all my eggs in the music basket, and when that went downhill completely when I was 38, 39 after the disease, I had no money. I was bankrupt. I signed on, right? I was like, that's not good enough for me. And Bob Proctor taught me multiple sources of income. And for years, I was really like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? I'm just having to work for money. Where's multiple sources of income come from? But like anything in life, there comes a tipping point. And the more we go forward, the more we get to that tipping point, all of a sudden, now I've got multiple sources of income. And it's easy. It took quite a lot of hard work to get there. And I'm happy to talk to you on a one-to-one. If you want to book a 30-minute discovery call with me, we call it. But just if you want to book a discovery call, just have a 30-minute chat. I'm more than happy. Anyone watching, anyone wants to chat for 30 minutes about their situation and what they would like to get out of 2023, for instance, reach out and book a 30-minute chat with me. Get in my diary. I work from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., right? I love what I do.
So let's just clarify. That is a completely free 30-minute call. You do with all of your heart, listen to what someone has to say. You do offer them suggestions, and then occasionally something will click and someone will say, actually, Mark, you've touched on something there, but there is no hard sell at the end of it. You are more than happy to dedicate 30 minutes of your time to give them some pointers.
If you've watched The Secret says, back from 2006, I urge you all, if you haven't watched it, I think it's on Amazon Prime now, not Netflix. But if you watch The Secret, it says, give first and you shall receive. I give 30 minutes to any person who wants to talk to me and understand anything about what I do and how I've done it. And after reading my book, etc., no pressure whatsoever. If people want to know the prices, I'll tell them the prices. If they want to go on markwilkinsonofficial.com, go on there and check out the prices. Come and talk to me if you can't afford it. Honestly, you should ban those words from your language, right? The real key to this is to say, how can I afford it? But ultimately, never a hard sell, Andy. Look, the bottom line is that if someone's struggling, I want to give them 30 minutes of my time so it can change their lives. That's why we give free tickets away to people that are literally can't afford, a ticket for the free events. That's why we've brought this price right down, because people are struggling with their bills and their food and their heating. 20 quid. Yeah, just come along.
Yeah.
Change
You're
your
not putting
mindset
on
about.
you're not putting on this you're not putting on this live event because you need the money, the 20 quid off people. You genuinely do feel it deep down inside. And I totally agree with you there. Emily says, for her, it's getting rid of the unnecessary noise that has been distracting me way too much. I've cared about things which have been dragging me down for far too long. This all comes back down to fixing yourself first, right? Fixing, that's the
Absolutely,
wrong word.
absolutely.
Fixing's the wrong word. E-colors, get on board with the e-colors. Know yourself. It's amazing.
Well, what we do with the e-colors, literally, when people come to me for coaching, we literally ask them to do their e-colors report as the very first thing. They get a premium report. Once they pay, obviously, for the coaching, they get a premium report, and then we dissect the premium report. We understand how and why, the way they think, why they're getting the results. We ask them about themselves. We ask them about what they would like to do, when they would like to do it by. And e-colors self-awareness is massively, massively powerful. That's why we use it. It's changed my life, certainly, over the last 10, 15 years. Emma absolutely loves it, and Emma's a coach with me as well around e-colors. We go out and coach in the corporate world with e-colors. It's literally a life-changing moment. It's like the first step in self-development. I highly recommend that. And then, of course, understanding how your mind works, understanding your thoughts and feelings and how they work, how you can program how you think and how you feel is very, very important. And there's one thing I want to just touch on as well, Andy, of course, which is this no alcohol challenge, which I'm supporting you on 100% and your group through January into April, I think it is, isn't it?
That's
But
right, yeah.
that's another thing about self-love and putting a solid foundation in place. Once you stop poisoning yourself, I'm sorry to have to say, but once you stop poisoning yourself with alcohol or anything else, you actually get to know you've got more of a chance of loving you, which is the key.
Hmm. Deep. I know there's a lot of people that, oh, you've gone too far now. He's taking his beer away from me. He was doing okay until he started mentioning about not drinking. Jimmy,
Well, just to be clear, just to be clear, that's a voluntary challenge that you've put
it
up, right?
is.
So
It is. Jimmy is watching on YouTube. He says, "Nice one, gents," and gives a thumbs up. Thank you, Jimmy, and thank you to anyone else who is watching who hasn't commented. So much, we really could sit and chat all evening, Mark, but I know you talk all day long, and I'm conscious of us just pulling things from everywhere because there's so many. I'll even start talking to you about my or the audio book that I'm reading, that talks us about triggers and the trauma and things that have affected us as kids. There's so much that along the self-development lines that people can get into, right?
mate, mate, book him for a 30-minute call and let's have a chat about it.
Yeah, there you go. So to book with this call, markwilkinsonofficial.com, and is there a booking form on there?
You literally just click through on the coach page. You can book a free 30-minute session with me. It goes into a system called Acuity. It books direct into my diary. You get 30 minutes, you get a Zoom link, and we sit here exactly like this. And I largely listen a lot of the time, which was something I was not the best at when I was younger. But I listen, and I listen to what people would really like to achieve or what the problem is. And then we can start to, offer some advice. And I can certainly signpost people to the right place. If people currently don't have money to invest in themselves, then there are free or much cheaper services than coaching. But one of the things I said to you on the phone the other day is that very often when people are not willing to invest in themselves, it sends quite a powerful message out to the universe. Ultimately, most people spend more money on their car, their holiday, or any other crazy stuff that they order off Amazon. They spend more money doing that than they will actually investing in themselves. And what I learned was very quickly as a bankrupt, I started to invest in myself with any money I possibly had. And the more I did it, the more exams I got, the more qualifications I got. the more articulate I got, the more understanding of the universal laws I got, and simply the more I invested in myself, the more money I received. It's about what you give, what you put out, and then what you receive back. And if you put out negative energy, then you're going to get a lot of negative energy back. If you put out positive energy, including money to invest in yourself, you get it back way more is all I can say.
It's very, very much along the lines of karma. So finally, 7 days to remix your life. Is there any more of those on the horizon? Because that was fantastic.
It's 5 days, but I like your style, Andy. Why not stick a couple of extras?
No, you know what it is, because I had a graphic that I was going to share. Let me share this and then we'll start wrapping up. The 7 rules of life. I'll read this out. Don't compare your life to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. Just smile. You don't own all the problems in the world. Make peace with your past so it won't disturb your future. What other people think of you is none of your business. The only person in charge of your happiness is you. Time heals almost everything. And stop thinking so much. This, ladies and gentlemen, is why I love him. Incredible.
I just dropped the mic with that one. But we are going to do, so what we're going to do, we're going to do the 28th of January. Then I'm going to plan some online courses, 5 days to remix your life, and some other things. Some very just 2 days based on relationships, 2 days just based on money. I'm going to do those online, Zoom free for everyone just to join. We're going to do some more book clubs. We've got 3 or 4 book clubs booked in for next year that we're going to start promoting in January. Because the book clubs are great and people got real value out of that, and no charge, right? People can just join. So that's really positive. And then the weekend in the UK, probably around June sort of time, a life remix weekend with networking opportunities as well as all the success related things that we're talking about. So lots of big plans for 2023, lots to achieve, lots more property investment. It's a big thing for me. I like to invest in properties to put a roof over people's heads, adding value to their lives, which is why you get paid the rent or when people buy the property. Lots of crowdfunding properties. There's a lot happening, mate. And the most important part is just making sure that I bring as much joy to as many people as possible. And that way, once you understand that, once you've got joy within you and then you radiate that out, it comes back, and it comes back in lots of different ways. It comes back in a compliment from you or Chris or any of the other amazing people that are watching, Angela, anyone else who's watching, or it comes back in someone saying, do you know what, Mark, I want to work one-to-one with you. Here's some money. You can, pay your mortgage for the next month or whatever else. You know what I mean? That's all part of the process. It's all part of the process.
Wonderful. Well, I will go on record as saying that I get involved with Mark as much as I can. Part of the book club, part of the 5 days to remix your life, part of the e-colors. I'm not a coaching client of Mark's, but I love being around him. His aura is fantastic, and it's rubbed off a lot on me, and I know it's rubbed off on a lot of you. So, Mark, I'm going to leave you to the rest of your evening. Thank you so much, my friend. I wish you a very happy Christmas. I'm sure we'll speak again before the big day, but I'm just going to say goodbye to these.
It was absolutely wonderful, mate, and thanks everyone for watching. The questions, the great energy. I thrive off it. I love it. And Andy, all power to you. Access. Let's get. You set your goals for 2023. Whatever you're going to do, you'll let me know. I know you will.
I will do. Take care, buddy. Give my love to Emma and to Frankie. Okay.
Likewise to Michelle and the rest of the squad. See you soon, mate.
Take care, mate. Take care. Okay, guys, so that was Mark. Very happy for him to give me some of his valuable time. New screen here that we have. As you can see, I hit my 1,000 subscribers today. Very, very happy about that. If you aren't subscribed to me on YouTube, it's youtube.com/DJ Andy Ward. Head on over and give the page a like, subscribe, click the bell button, and then every time I do go live, you'll get a notification. But most importantly, all of the content is archived for you to watch at your convenience. Janie Boy just gave a big like of the stream, and she was saying she just recently watched the Mark Archer episode talking about alternate. She actually went to school with him, and she didn't realize that we were friends for the last 25, 30 years. So there's always something to be taken from these talks. Thank you to everybody for commenting. Wendy says she really enjoyed the conversation. Much food for thought. Angela, thank you so much. VB and Life Remixed are really life changing. Emily, thank you, Mark. I cannot recommend enough, Emily, that you do get in touch with Mark for that 30-minute call. Michelle says thanks, as does Katrina. Shouts out to Woody as well. A big fan of the e-colors. Thank you, Craig. And Lester says, good one, Mark. And Jane is getting the book for a Christmas present. Fantastic. That is me done now until 9 days and counting. We are off to Iceland on Thursday via Edinburgh on Wednesday night. Looking forward to catching up with some of the VB family over there. And then on the 21st, I believe it's the 21st of December, I forget what day that is, whatever, we're going to be discussing Birmingham's UKG explosion, talking to Jay Harms and Nitrate, two guys slightly younger than myself. We're going to be focusing on the UK garage scene towards the back end of the 90s into the early 2000s, the explosion of the scene, and I'll explain why we're jumping that far ahead on that stream itself. Jimmy says, I've subscribed, buddy. We're searching for some Ableton information, but this is much more interesting. Brilliant. I've got a world of great contacts that I can put you in touch with talking about Ableton, my friend. Drop me a message or drop me a comment and remind me. I've got some really great people who have got some fantastic tutorials. Happy to talk to you one-on-one about that. Okay, I am sick of the sound of my own voice in my ears. I didn't think you'd ever hear me say that, did I? Did you? Whatever. Right, I'm going to get out of here. Monday night. Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Thank you again, Mark, for your wisdom. And yeah, you just be good to yourselves now. I'll see some of you in Iceland and I'll catch the rest of you next week. Be good now.